G'day guys, it's Jase here. Welcome to another episode of Ask Jase. Now, we're going to get straight into it, so let's have a look here. I have got a laptop full of questions. Now, Jacob S, if you're watching, g'day Jacob. Thanks for your question, mate. Jacob's question is, what spare parts and equipment would you take for a trip around Australia, including going to the Cape on the old telegraph track? We love the telegraph track, don't we? Okay, if you're going to go hardcore on the telly track, you're going to need heaps of spares depending on your truck, but important things to take. If you're towing a trailer, take some bearings. I find taking a battery drill and a battery grinder. Need some drill bits, need some Tex screws, you know, some self-tapping screws, some pop rivets. So you need to do a few repairs like that. That's a good one. Bag of bolts, so just a big bag of licorice all sorts when it comes to nuts and bolts. Put some Nylac nuts in there, mate, so they don't come undone again. You need filter. If you've got any Toyota, you're going to need new Toyota, you're going to need to replace the fuel filter. That's a must. Replace that fuel filter. As soon as that light comes on, get out there and replace it. So yeah, look, spare parts, tools, spanners, you know, bits and pieces, trailer bearings, yeah, things like that. Hopefully that answers your question, Jacob. All right. Here we go, we've got another one here. So this is from Jake M. Good on you, Jake, if you're watching. Love the show. In all your years traveling out in the bush, have you ever seen or experienced anything freaky? Like big wild cats, UFOs, or even Yowies? That's a cool question, that one. Okay, so the closest thing I got to a UFO was I was up at the Mitchell Plateau. So if you know that, that's in the Kimberley, and we were parked up. We were actually parked up on the old airstrip, right? And we're sitting there around the campfire in our camp chairs, and I kid you not, this big white light from the heavens came flying across the sky, lit the whole joint up, and then fizzled out, and I just went, wow. I made a wish, mind you. So I think it was a meteorite or something like that. All I know, it was very, very cool. Unidentified flying object? Quite possibly. There you go. Now, big cats. All right, so I wouldn't say I've seen a lion or like a big cat, but I tell you, up in the Gulf country of Queensland, Northern Territory, Queensland border, mate, there are some serious feral cats up there, and I have seen some cats up there that look like little bobcats. And I don't mean that skid steer loader. I'm talking about a serious cat that looks like it would eat the neighbour's dog. And so, yes, there are cats everywhere. And then there's one more little story, and you're gonna love this one. I was up at a place called Battle Camp, and that's up in the Cape, okay? And they call it Battle Camp. And there's actually an old sort of set of ruins there. And we were camped there one night, and it was Simon who mentioned to me, he goes, oh, some wild dogs around here. And I went, oh yeah, okay. You know, wild dogs, I'm sure they're everywhere. Dingoes maybe, wild dogs. And he told me a bit of a story about some dirt bike trip he was on, and they all huddled inside the hut, and one guy was outside and he ran inside halfway through the night apparently because of the wild dogs. Well, I sort of listened to that story, and then we went to bed. I've rolled my swag out beside the vehicle there, and it would have been about, I reckon, about 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm in my swag and I hear this growling, and I reckon the dog was sitting right beside my swag, and he was growling at me as if to say, what are you doing, mate? What are you doing in my spot? And I'm like, I got a bit of a shiver up my spine. I went, whoa, whoa. And then it took off. And then a few seconds later, he'd run past again. It was like he was running past my tent. You could hear him gallop past and growl at me and then run past. And I'm thinking, oh, okay, what's going on here? And I thought, I was sort of thinking maybe they'll have a go at me, you know. They might think I'm a bit of tasty meat. So I'm sitting inside my swag, and I unzip my swag slightly. So I unzip it so I could get out of it really quickly. And then I hear him gallop past, and then I just launched out of the swag, and I've just come out into the darkness. I couldn't see much, it was a very dark night. I had pants on, by the way. I've just gone like that, and you're in just outside of that sort of visual range, because they've got better eyes than I've got. you could see them, and there would have been a pack of dogs, and they were sitting there growling at me, and I've just grabbed a couple of big sticks and I've thrown sticks at them and growled at them, just to let them know that I'm the alpha male around here. And yeah, went back to bed. But it puts some chills up your spine, that does, you know, because you got to watch them feral dogs. They'll take down kangaroos and calves and stuff like that, and small children. So remember that one. If you're at battle camp, lock your kids up. All right, you don't want them getting taken by any feral dogs. So there you go. I'm just having a look here. Jake M. Good question, mate. Good question. I hope that was a great answer for you. All right, Adam C. Adam C, how you going, mate? If you're watching, what CB antenna, I'm assuming CB, UHF, do you guys run? The one I'm using hardly picks up anything. Oh, you gotta love the UHF, mate. It's UHF, ultra high frequency, okay? So basically the UHF radio or CB radio is used to communicate a short distance, because they're not designed for long distance. A HF is designed for long distance, unless of course you're using repeaters. Well, I'm not dialing into repeaters when I'm up there. I wouldn't even know where they are, okay? So generally people are buying the UHF, installing it onto their vehicle, their four-wheel drive, so that they can communicate between vehicles. That's usually a good one. You're not using it for any emergency or anything like that. You could try, but generally it's not going to get you the range. Now, what do we use? Well, I've actually got one right here as a sample, and I'll show you. This is a new one here. Now this is the aerial that I use. It's about, I think that's about 1.2 meters roughly, mounted directly to the front on the bull bar. Okay, it's got this massive big spring going on here. You can see this big spring, so it can take a bit of a flex, a bit of a bash from the tree. So we got a low gain and a high gain antenna, okay? This one is a medium gain. So you start off with a low gain, 2 to 4 dBi, okay? That is the signal strength, and it is low gain, which is perfect for hilly country, okay? So if you're in the hills and you're going up and down like that, so you can't see the vehicle in front of you, you want a low gain antenna, all right? Now, if you're in flat country all the time, so you're up in the Gulf country and it's just flat everywhere up there, hardly any hills, you use a high gain antenna, and that'll be 8 plus, so 8 dBi plus, all right? And that gives you good distance over flat ground. Now, when we travel around Australia, the top end of Australia, you know, down in the bottom of Western Australia, across through Victoria, all those places, then you're gonna need a medium range antenna, because you don't know whether you're gonna be in hilly country or flat country. So use a medium gain antenna. What is that? Well, that is from about 5 to 7 dBi, okay? This one is a 6.6, so it comes in the medium range. Its length, it's not overly long, so it doesn't get caught up on the trees and stuff, and it's not a little short stumpy one. So remember that one, medium range. I don't know what antenna you've got, mate, but you know, you want, depending on what country you're doing, what you're doing, I go for a medium range, the best way to go. Heavy duty spring, so you know, you can handle those corrugations on the front of your bull bar and all that sort of stuff. So there you go, see how that goes, Adam. Okay, all right, so we got one more question here. We've got, and it's from Jordan B. G'day Jordan, if you're watching. Hey Jase, love the show and am a massive fan. Okay. Thanks, Jordan. I was just wondering how long you spend on the road filming each series. Okay, I get asked this question a lot, so I'm going to answer this question for you. Hopefully I can do a good job of this. Right, All for Adventure has filmed a 10-part series. Now we go away for 9 to 10 weeks, and we go up into, you know, the location that we're going to, like the last one we went to all over the territory. Every episode rolls into the next. What we try and do is show you the journey. Sometimes a lot of it is the magic of television, so we could be in that bog for 3 hours and you're watching, it takes what, 3 minutes on television. So, but with Unleashed is different. We split it up into 2 lots. We do the first half of Unleashed, 4 episodes, then we do the second half. And the reason for Unleashed is so that I can get different terrain and also give you different seasons, because the top end of Australia is different in the wet season as opposed to the dry season. So I really like to sort of change it up a bit, because old Swampy, as you know, on Unleashed, it likes swamp. And we go up in the dry season, it doesn't get to see much swamp. So he wants to go up there in the wet season, all right? So, Unleashed, 4 episodes, and that could take us anywhere between, if you count 4 to 5 days per episode, that takes you right through to 2, nearly 3 weeks, depending on the driving, okay? So there's a lot of driving involved, I know that much, and towing. So, that's, hopefully that answers your question, Jordan B. And mate, keep sending in, so everyone out there, keep sending in your questions, and I'll see if I can shoot you some answers. And don't be afraid to send in the technical ones, because I will give you the information or the knowledge that I've sort of picked up in the last, God knows, how old am I? 1, 2, yeah, we won't tell you that. In the last, God knows, 30 years of experience on the road of, you know, being out there in the bush and doing what I love and doing what you guys love to watch. Okay, so we'll see you next time on Ask Jase.